For nearly 4,000 years, the Galactic Imperium believed one truth above all others. Humanity was dead. Not defeated. Not hiding. Extinct. Ancient archives spoke of a civilization unlike any other. A species born on a brutal death world that somehow conquered impossible odds. Their fleets crossed galaxies before most races had discovered faster-than-light travel. Their engineers built machines that ignored accepted laws of physics. Their soldiers fought battles that became legends whispered across generations. They vanished. No final war. No farewell. Only abandoned star systems, silent megastructures, and empty shipyards drifting through space like forgotten monuments. Historians called it the Great Silence. Children grew up believing humans were myths. Until the impossible happened. The imperial capital, Nova Prime. Home to 2 trillion citizens. The heart of the most powerful empire the galaxy had ever known. It was Founders' Day, the greatest celebration of the year. Thousands of warships floated proudly in perfect formation above the capital. Fireworks exploded across the upper atmosphere while millions watched from enormous sky platforms. Emperor Kaler III stood upon the palace observation deck, smiling as the fleet saluted him. Everything was proceeding exactly as planned. Then every light in orbit flickered. Only once. The fireworks stopped. Military communications filled with static. Sensors across the defense grid simultaneously reported. Nothing. Everything. Unknown gravitational distortion detected. The young sensor officer froze. Repeat your report. I don't understand. Every display inside Fleet Command flashed crimson. An object had appeared. No hyperspace signature. No jump gate. No wormhole. It simply existed. High above the Imperial Palace. Perfectly motionless. Silent. Invisible to the naked eye. Yet every military sensor insisted something enormous occupied the sky. Fleet Admiral Varinus narrowed his eyes. Magnify. The holographic display zoomed toward empty space. Nothing. Then the computer adjusted the spectrum. Gasps echoed throughout the command center. A faint outline emerged. Like shattered glass bending reality itself. Something impossibly massive was hiding there. Its length stretched nearly 40 kilometers. Impossible. No known civilization possessed ships even 1/4 that size. It has to be sensor interference, whispered an officer. Before anyone could respond, the distortion disappeared. The cloak disengaged. Across the skies of Nova Prime, a colossal white warship materialized. Its armor gleamed like polished ivory beneath the nearby sun. Blue energy flowed through intricate patterns carved into its hull like rivers of living light. There were no visible weapons. No engines. No insignias of any known empire. Yet every instinct screamed danger. People across the capital stopped celebrating. Millions stared upward. Nobody spoke. Even children sensed something ancient had awakened. Fleet Admiral Varinus felt genuine fear for the first time in 50 years. Identify that vessel. Artificial intelligence searched every database. Every military archive. Every archaeological record. After several agonizing seconds, one forgotten file unlocked. Classification: Omega Black. Access restricted. Origin: unknown. Then another encrypted archive automatically opened. Older than the Imperium itself. One sentence appeared across every command screen. Warning: do not engage human warships. Silence filled Fleet Command. Someone laughed nervously. Human? That's impossible. They're extinct. Another officer swallowed hard. Then why does every classified archive say otherwise? Before anyone answered, a single transmission spread across every communication frequency in the galaxy. Not just the Imperial capital. Every colony. Every station. Every fleet. One calm human voice echoed through billions of speakers. This is Terran's strategic vessel Aegis Eternal. A brief pause followed. Then the sentence that froze an entire civilization. We have returned. The words echoed across the galaxy long after the transmission ended. We have returned. Every military command center fell into stunned silence. On Nova Prime, the Imperial fleet, more than 3,000 warships, shifted into combat formation around the mysterious vessel. Massive dreadnoughts activated shield arrays, carrier groups launched interceptor wings, and orbital defense platforms rotated toward their target. Yet the enormous white warship remained perfectly still. No weapons powered up. No engines flared. No shields shimmered. It simply hovered above the Imperial capital like a mountain suspended in the sky. Fleet Admiral Varinus clenched his fists. "Open a secure channel." Moments later, the calm human voice returned. "This frequency is acknowledged." "I am Fleet Admiral Varinus of the Galactic Imperium," he declared. "You have entered sovereign space without authorization. Identify your intentions immediately." Several seconds passed. Then came the reply. "We are here to observe." The answer only deepened the mystery. Observe what? The civilization that inherited our galaxy. Inside Fleet Command, confused officers exchanged nervous glances. "Inherited?" one whispered. "What does that even mean?" Before anyone could answer, the ship's artificial intelligence interrupted. "Admiral, we're receiving impossible sensor data." "Explain." "The vessel has no detectable reactor. No engines. No shield generators. No weapon batteries." Varinus frowned. "That's impossible. Everything has a power source." "Exactly." The officer swallowed. "Our instruments indicate the ship isn't producing energy. It's manipulating space itself." The room fell silent. That level of technology was beyond anything the Imperium considered possible. Meanwhile, across the capital, billions of civilians watched the impossible visitor hanging above their world. News drones streamed the event live to every inhabited system. Historians hurried into museums. Scientists reopened forgotten archives. Ancient languages, untouched for millennia, were suddenly translated once more. One archaeologist on a distant research station uncovered a damaged stone tablet recovered centuries earlier from an abandoned human colony. Most scholars had dismissed it as mythology. Now its faded inscriptions suddenly carried terrifying meaning. When the Silent Fleet returns, the stars themselves will remember who first ruled the void. The message spread through academic networks within minutes. Panic followed. Back aboard the Imperial flagship, Emperor Kaler III had joined Fleet Command personally. He studied the white vessel through the panoramic viewport. "It doesn't look like a conqueror," he said quietly. "No, Your Majesty. It looks like a guardian." Before Varinus could respond, alarms blared across every console. Multiple hyperspace ruptures detected. Officers rushed to their stations. "Enemy fleet?" "No." The sensor operator's voice trembled. "They're everywhere." Across the galaxy, thousands of hidden objects suddenly appeared. Long-range telescopes captured breathtaking images. Ancient stations buried inside asteroids. Gigantic orbital shipyards hidden within dying stars. Dormant satellites awakening around forgotten planets. Machines that had remained asleep for thousands of years. Each one activated simultaneously. None belonged to the Imperium. None matched any known civilization. Yet every one transmitted the same encrypted signal. Destination: Terran's strategic vessel Aegis Eternal. Fleet intelligence worked frantically. How many installations are activating? The answer chilled everyone. Current estimate. The officer hesitated. Over 93,000. Gasps filled the command center. Entire sectors lit up on the galactic map as ancient human infrastructure came alive. Navigation beacons. Defense platforms. Communication arrays. Shipyards. Listening posts. The galaxy hadn't been empty after humanity disappeared. It had simply been waiting. Inside the mysterious warship, Captain Elias Ward watched the holographic star map brighten one system after another. A faint smile crossed his face. The network survived. His executive officer nodded. 98% operational after 4,000 years. Better than expected. Outside, the Imperial fleet tightened its encirclement. Thousands of weapons locked onto the lone human vessel. Every targeting computer displayed the same message. Target acquired. Then, without warning, every Imperial weapon shut down. Not damaged. Not hacked. Simply turned off. Across 3,000 warships, guns powered down, missiles disarmed themselves, and fire control systems went completely dark. Panic erupted. We've lost weapons control. Missile bays won't respond. Rail cannons offline. Nothing is working. Fleet Admiral Varenus stared at the human ship. They disabled our entire fleet, without firing a single shot. Above Nova Prime, the white warship remained motionless. Silent. Patient. As though it had expected this moment for thousands of years. And deep beneath the Imperial Palace, an ancient vault no one knew existed quietly unlocked itself. Inside, a single beacon began to glow. Its message contained only 6 words. Welcome home, first protectors of Earth. The ancient beacon pulsed once. Deep beneath the Imperial Palace, layers of forgotten stone trembled as dust drifted from ceilings untouched for thousands of years. Hidden mechanisms, silent since before the Imperium even existed, awakened with a low metallic hum. No one in the palace knew the chamber was there. Not the Emperor. Not his ancestors. Not even the Imperial archives. Only one being noticed. The palace's ancient maintenance AI, designed centuries ago, suddenly received a command it had never seen before. Priority Omega. Authorized by Terran High Command. The AI froze for 0.2 seconds. Then it obeyed. Massive blast doors slid open beneath the royal throne, revealing a circular chamber illuminated by soft blue light. At its center stood a crystalline pillar wrapped in metallic rings. Strange symbols glowed across its surface, not Imperial writing, but ancient Terran script. Above Nova Prime, Captain Elias Ward watched a notification appear on his command display. Earth Legacy Vault, online. His executive officer smiled. So the legends were true. Ward nodded slowly. They always were. Inside Fleet Command, chaos spread. Engineers desperately tried to restore weapon systems, but every attempt ended the same way. Access denied. Admiral, a technician shouted. The ship isn't jamming us. Then what's happening? It's rewriting the permissions inside our own computers. Impossible. Our systems believe the human vessel has higher command authority than we do. Silence. The realization struck like lightning. The human ship wasn't attacking. It was recognized. Recognized by technologies that should never have known humanity existed. Meanwhile, news of the mysterious vault spread rapidly through the palace after security drones discovered the hidden chamber. Emperor Kaler III descended personally with an escort of royal guards and scientists. The chamber felt peaceful, ancient, waiting. As the Emperor approached the crystalline pillar, holographic lights blossomed into the air. A human woman appeared. She wore a white naval uniform unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Silver stars lined her collar, and calm blue eyes studied everyone in the room. She spoke in flawless galactic common. I am Admiral Sophia Reyes, commander of the Terran Defense Accord. Every guard instinctively reached for their weapons. The hologram raised one hand. Be at ease. I have been dead for 3,982 years. No one breathed. This message was left for whoever ruled this world after our departure. The Emperor stepped forward cautiously. Why was this hidden beneath my palace? The hologram smiled gently. Because this was never your palace. Confused murmurs filled the chamber. Thousands of years ago, before Nova Prime became the Imperial capital, this planet had another name. It had been humanity's greatest diplomatic world. The place where hundreds of alien civilizations once gathered in peace. The Imperium unknowingly built its throne upon the foundation of our oldest alliance. Every historian present felt their stomach drop. Could it really be true? High above the planet, more ancient Terran stations continued awakening across the galaxy. One after another. Each activation sent shockwaves through governments. Long-range scanners counted over 100,000 operational installations. None showed signs of decay. None required repairs. They had waited, perfectly preserved. Back inside the vault, Admiral Reyes continued. If you are seeing this message, then humanity has either failed or finally returned. The hologram turned toward the ceiling, as though looking at the white warship orbiting above. If our descendants have come back, listen before you choose fear. She paused. We never built these fleets to rule the galaxy. We built them to protect it. The room fell silent. The Emperor frowned. Protect it from what? For the first time, the hologram's expression became serious. Very serious. From the enemy that follows us. Above the capital, Captain Ward's calm expression vanished. Every console on the bridge flashed crimson. Unknown signal detected. The tactical officer looked pale. Captain, it's coming from beyond the galactic rim. Long-range sensors zoomed into the darkness between galaxies. At first, nothing appeared. The tiny lights. Hundreds of them. Thousands. Millions. They weren't stars. They were engines. An unimaginably vast fleet was emerging from intergalactic space. Captain Ward whispered the words every Terran officer feared. They found us. The bridge fell silent. After 4,000 years of hiding, humanity's oldest enemy had finally arrived. No one on the bridge of the Terran strategic vessel Aegis Eternal spoke. Every officer stared at the tactical display as countless crimson markers appeared beyond the edge of the galaxy. Each second, more contacts emerged from the darkness between galaxies. The computer finished its calculations. Estimated enemy vessels, 8,700,000, and increasing. Even the seasoned Terran crew fell silent. Captain Elias Ward took a slow breath. So, they never gave up. His tactical officer looked toward him. After 4,000 years, we hoped they had abandoned the hunt. Ward shook his head. They don't abandon anything. They consume. Across the Galactic Imperium, observatories began detecting the same impossible phenomenon. At first, astronomers believed the instruments were malfunctioning. Then every telescope, civilian and military alike, confirmed the same terrifying reality. A wall of light was advancing toward the galaxy. Not stars. Warships. Millions upon millions of them. The Imperial Science Council quickly estimated their arrival. 23 days. If they traveled at full speed, panic spread across the galaxy faster than any hyperspace message. Governors declared planetary emergencies. Civilian transports packed every available spaceport. Merchants abandoned trade routes. Families crowded into underground shelters. For the first time in recorded history, the mighty Galactic Imperium admitted a truth it had never imagined. It was not prepared. Inside the Imperial Palace, Emperor Kaler III remained in the hidden vault as Admiral Sophia Reyes' hologram continued. The species approaching your galaxy calls itself the Vorak Dominion. They do not negotiate. They do not occupy. They erase. The Emperor frowned. If they are so powerful, how did humanity survive? A faint smile crossed the hologram's face. We didn't survive. We delayed them. The room fell completely silent. 4,000 years ago, humanity discovered the Vorak long before they reached this galaxy. We understood one terrible fact. They could never truly be defeated. Only slowed. So humanity made a choice. Instead of protecting its own worlds, the Terran fleets led the Vorak away from the Milky Way, sacrificing everything to buy time for every younger civilization to grow. Our final mission was never victory. It was giving the future a chance. Several Imperial officers lowered their heads. Everything they had believed about humanity had been wrong. Humans hadn't disappeared because they lost. They had disappeared because they chose to protect civilizations that did not even exist yet. Back aboard the Aegis Eternal, communications erupted. One by one, ancient Terran stations reported in. Sentinel network online. Outer defense grid operational. Arc Ship 7 responding. Solar Forge activated. Quantum beacon array synchronized. Within hours, thousands became tens of thousands. Then hundreds of thousands. Ancient factories hidden inside dead moons awakened. Orbital shipyards lit up after 4 millennia of silence. Autonomous defense satellites repositioned themselves across the galaxy. Humanity's sleeping infrastructure had become the largest military network ever assembled. Yet Captain Ward did not smile. It won't be enough. His first officer looked surprised. Sir, there are too many. Fleet Admiral Vorenus requested an emergency audience aboard the human warship. Minutes later, an Imperial shuttle landed inside the colossal vessel. The interior stunned everyone. There were no lavish decorations. No trophies. No monuments celebrating victory. Only clean white corridors, quiet lighting, and memorial walls engraved with millions of names. Every hallway honored those who had never returned. Vorenus whispered, "These aren't heroes." Captain Ward nodded. They were volunteers. The Admiral stopped before a massive inscription carved into black stone. "So others may see tomorrow." Ward looked at the memorial. Every person aboard the first Terran fleets knew they would never come home. They still went. For the first time in his long military career, Vorenus removed his cap in silent respect. Suddenly, red lights flooded the bridge. The tactical AI announced, "Enemy advance accelerating." A holographic image expanded before everyone. The Vorak fleet had changed course. They were no longer heading toward the outer colonies. They were heading directly for Nova Prime. Captain Ward narrowed his eyes. "They've recognized our signal." Another officer looked up. "They remember us." Ward gave one final order. "Broadcast this message to every civilization." Within moments, every screen across the galaxy displayed the same transmission. The human captain stood calmly before the camera. His voice carried to trillions. "We protected this galaxy once. We intend to protect it again." He paused, looking directly into the camera. "But this time, we will not stand alone." As the transmission ended, thousands of Imperial warships began moving, not to surround the human vessel, but to form up beside it, one after another. Then fleets from neighboring civilizations joined them. Old rivals, ancient enemies, independent worlds. For the first time in galactic history, the galaxy united under a single battle line. And beyond the rim, the endless darkness continued to advance. The stars themselves seemed to hold their breath. From the bridge of the Terran strategic vessel Aegis Eternal, Captain Elias Ward watched as countless friendly fleets assembled across the defensive line. Imperial dreadnoughts floated beside merchant cruisers converted for war. Independent colonies contributed every ship they could spare. Even civilizations that had spent centuries fighting each other now stood shoulder to shoulder. The tactical display painted an incredible picture. Allied fleet strength, 5,240,000 vessels. It was the largest alliance ever formed. Yet it was still smaller than the force approaching from beyond the galactic rim. The Vorak armada stretched across space like a living storm. Their ships were unlike anything the younger civilizations had ever imagined. Vast black structures with shifting metallic surfaces that seemed to absorb starlight itself. Wherever they passed, long-range sensors detected dead worlds stripped of energy. Fleet Admiral Vorenus looked toward Captain Ward. "Can we stop them?" Ward answered honestly, "I don't know." It was the first time anyone had heard uncertainty in the Terran commander's voice. Hours later, the two fleets met at the edge of the galaxy. Silence. No radio messages. No threats. No negotiations. Then a single Vorak vessel moved forward. Its surface opened like a giant eye, revealing a pulsing sphere of crimson light. A cold mechanical voice echoed across every communication channel. "Humanity, your resistance is statistically irrational." Captain Ward stepped before the transmitter. "We've been called worse." The Vorak intelligence continued. "You delayed assimilation for 4,112 years. The result remains unchanged." Ward smiled faintly. "No. It changed everything." He gestured toward the Allied fleets stretching across the stars. "When we left, this galaxy was divided. Today, it stands together." For several seconds, the Vorak remained silent. Then the crimson sphere brightened. Commencing extinction protocol. The battle began. A wave of crimson energy erupted from the Vorik front line. Entire regions of space flashed white as shields collided with impossible power. Imperial cruisers fired synchronized railgun volleys while alien plasma lances crossed the battlefield in brilliant streams of blue and gold. Then the ancient Terran defense network awakened completely. Hidden stations emerged from neutron stars. Planet-sized rail platforms unfolded from asteroid belts. Millions of autonomous drones poured from dormant shipyards. The galaxy itself had become a fortress. Captain Ward gave the order humanity had waited 4,000 years to speak. All Terran fleets, engage! Thousands of white human warships decloaked simultaneously. Not one, not 10, thousands. Each had been hidden inside secret docks, rogue planets, and deep space vaults since the day humanity vanished. The younger civilizations watched in stunned amazement. Humanity had never truly disappeared. It had been waiting. The fighting lasted for days. Stars flickered beneath the fury of unimaginable weapons. Entire Vorik formations vanished under coordinated Terran strikes. Imperial fleets defended evacuation corridors while civilian rescue ships pulled survivors from burning wrecks. Losses mounted on both sides. Then Captain Ward saw the opening. The Vorik command vessel. A structure larger than a moon. If it survived, the invasion would continue forever. Ward turned to his crew. "We get one chance." His first officer understood immediately. The Aegis won't survive. Ward nodded. It wasn't built to survive. It was built to finish the mission. He opened a galaxy-wide transmission. To every free civilization. "Thank you. You proved that our sacrifice was worth it." The crew stood without hesitation. No one left their station. No one argued. Together, they accelerated toward the heart of the Vorik fleet. The Aegis Eternal activated a device that had remained sealed for over 4 millennia. The Event Horizon Core. Space twisted around the ship. Time itself seemed to slow. Captain Ward smiled one final time. "Humanity." Signing off. A brilliant sphere of white light erupted across the battlefield. For one breathtaking moment, every star disappeared. The silence. When the light faded, the Vorik command vessel was gone. So was every remaining enemy ship. The invasion had ended. The Aegis Eternal had vanished with them. Months later, peace returned to the galaxy. Above Nova Prime, a new memorial was built where the human warship had first appeared. At its center were 6 simple words engraved in stone. They returned so others could live. Every year, representatives from every civilization gathered there. Not to celebrate victory, but to remember the species that disappeared twice. Once to protect the future, and once more to ensure that future would never be lost again. And somewhere, in the endless sea of stars, explorers still whispered a hopeful legend. That if the galaxy ever faced impossible darkness again, a lone white warship might once more decloak above the sky. And a calm human voice would say, "Humanity has returned."